There was just not ever a doubt for any moment that anyone would not rise to the occasion. And they have all worked together for a long period of time. And that counts. It really does count for something.
With the unpredictability of COVID and the pandemic, maybe you have been feeling like everything's been out of sorts. And Nicole Pereira from the Growth Academy is here. And Nicole, I want to ask you, what has been your experience with COVID in particular in dealing with that? Obviously, something that kind of just fell into the world's lap. What did you do as a result of COVID from a procedural perspective?
I was all out of sorts too, Cheryl. Let me tell you, I was all out of sorts, and I was so thankful for my team, the systems and the processes that we had in place, because I needed them. I needed them myself. There was a night, like all good business owners, I did not take enough downtime during COVID, but I tried to make it a priority, and I tried to switch it up. So instead of taking like week-long vacations, I would take shorter chunks away. A girlfriend and I had decided we were going to head to the cottage for a weekend. We got there on a Sunday night. We were going to stay Sunday, Monday, come home Tuesday. We got to the cottage Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon. We head into town to get groceries. We're at the grocery store. We're checking out. I will never forget. My phone goes off. I look down at my phone, and sure enough, Sunday at 6 p.m., I find out that unfortunately one of our staff members has tested positive for COVID-19. This was my first experience with dealing with a COVID positive test of one of our team members or a customer in our workplace. So immediately I fell apart. I was just shaking, and I was like, oh my goodness, what do we do? What do we do? So we head back to the cottage, and I realized very quickly that our weekend was over. I was coming back home. It was gonna be an all hands on deck day, and that was the right thing to do. And so I basically had like a control center at the cottage where I was talking to all my managers, writing memos, figuring out what we were gonna do, and getting things under control and making a plan. And it was real time, it was high stress, things are changing. But through that process, started to feel better, started to chill out, decided, you know what, I'm gonna be at work for the beginning of the day. Our dealership was going to be closed that day because public health wasn't open and we couldn't consult with them until Monday morning. So I just made a decision out of an abundance of caution that we would shut the dealership down so that we could formulate a plan and go from there. But I still wanted to be present at 7 a.m. at the dealership the next morning. When we got home at 2 a.m. because I decided, you know what, I'm probably not going to sleep that much anyway. So we might as well stay, enjoy our evening. We get home when we get home, and I'll go to work early the next morning. It snows. It was one of the first snowfalls of the year, and it snows. So I like to get fresh air. I wake up at 5 a.m. I go outside to shovel the snow. I've left my coat and my boots in the car overnight. No worries, I think. I will wear my 8-year-old son boots and coat outside to shovel the driveway. So out I go. We're shoveling the driveway. Life is good. It's just me at home, and I'm done shoveling the driveway. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. And I decide that I'm ready to come back in the house. But I instantly remember that I went out of the house through the garage door so that I could get the shovel. And I left the deadbolt lock on the front door, and my garage door does not open from the outside. So it is 5:40 in the morning. It is dark. It is cold, and I'm locked out of my house. Oh, it was a scene. It was a scene, let me tell you. No phone, no wallet, no car keys. I did not lock my car, so I open the car door, I get my coat, I get my boots on, they're cold, and I walk to the dealership. It was a 45-minute walk. I felt great. Fresh air does the world of wonders. I felt so good the whole way getting there, and then I get there and no one else is there because it's not 7 o'clock yet. I have bad breath, I'm guessing, because I haven't brushed my teeth. My hair's a mess, and I have my pajamas on. And I wait for someone to come to work to help me to break into my house. I was throwing myself a really good pity party. I can do that pretty well, and I certainly was. I was not at my best. I was tired, I was stressed out, and I was feeling sorry for myself. And it was in that minute that I knew that all of the time, all of the hard work, all of the effort that I had invested in building my team, in building systems, in building processes was going to pay off because I didn't have to be at my best. And thank goodness for that, because I certainly was not. I wasn't at my best. I was required to be at my best by most conventional thinking because it was high stakes time. The dealership was closed on a day that we would have regularly been open. We were dealing with talking to team members, keeping us all safe, talking to customers, and like all of the PR and operational things you can imagine that come along with that.
Everything that was going on, the stress that you were under in that moment of time, and then obviously the situation with arriving at the dealership in your pajamas, relying on your team to really pick up where you might not have been 100%, or at least not feeling 100% in that moment. What kind of processes had you put in place, maybe over the course of months or years prior to, so that you knew that you could rely on them in that moment? Is it processes of making sure that everybody knows what to do in a crisis situation? Explain what that process really is.
It's not having one particular system or one particular process in place, but those are all really important. My management team, I'm so thankful because they know their role and they play it really well. And that's something I've invested time and energy in. And so they care for their team and they love on their team just like I do for them. So I'm not worrying about 65 people, I'm worrying about 7.
Is it more about the relationships that you've fostered over time and the skill set that's developed over time that allowed you to have full confidence in them in the moment that you needed the most?
Yeah, absolutely. It was absolutely about the relationships. There was just not ever a doubt for any moment that anyone would not rise to the occasion. And they have all worked together for a long period of time, and that counts. It really does count for something. Longevity does matter, and it shows up in a time like that.
What if any of your team members, if they're watching this video right now, what is it you'd say to them?
Thank you so much. Thank you for making me look good. Thank you for making me look better than I am often. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. On that day, I wasn't at my best, but I had the luxury of knowing they had my back, and it really mattered. In my grade 10 English class, Mr. Duncan had a sign up that I'll never forget. It said, "Lack of preparation on your part doesn't constitute an emergency on mine." That morning wasn't the time to be building relationships. That wasn't the time to be trying to convey that you care about people. The time to convey that I cared about people was 2 years prior. It's every single day. And then some. It's not in the crisis, it's before the crisis. There is preparation you can do. There's nothing that we like to do more than to help business owners build good relationships with their teams and with their customers. Find out more about us on our website and check us out on social.